This is the Magic Our Way podcast with my mutants, Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Lee. They're cut above the rest, bub. You're the best there is at what you do. And what you do is pretty nice.
Jumbo, everyone!
Harambe!
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way!
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast! They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sun, everyone. You are listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States of America. We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff, and this is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. For this show, we present an encore of our very first Halloween special. I'll explain more in a bit. And look, this isn't your typical polished, practiced, pixie dust and Disney podcast. No, sir. We are not in the parks every day trying to tell you the best place to catch Harmonious. My name is Kevin, and look, sometimes unexpected things come up in life, which interrupt our weekly recording sessions. However, we promise to always deliver content to you weekly, despite that fact. And I think you'll like what we have in store for you this episode. As you may know, we are quickly approaching our 400th episode, which should be released sometime in November 2021. Coincidentally, November is our birthday month as well. That's right. We released our very first episode back in November 2012, 9 years ago. And this is what makes this encore presentation very special. You see, what you're about to hear is our very first Halloween special. This episode is chock full of a bunch of stuff, segments that have survived up until this day. To begin, we present a game show, a true or false game show, regarding the myths about the Haunted Mansion. Then we give you our top 5 list of the scariest Disney attractions. And finally, we do some armchair Imagineering in which we come up with cool Halloween overlays for existing Disney attractions. Now, there are a few things you need to know going into this encore presentation. Number 1, this Halloween special was recorded in 2013 for MOW episode number 26. So we make some outdated references. For example, at that time, the Hatbox Ghost hadn't returned to Disneyland, and we make mention of the fact that we want it to return. And then number 2, this is back when Danny and I were the only ones on the show. Yes, this is before Eli and Lee joined the party. So those are the only 2 voices you're going to hear. But the information presented here is still sound. And I'll be honest, I wish I would have listened to this show prior to our visit to Walt Disney World for the 50th anniversary. We chose this hub for an encore because it never got its full recognition. You see, Danny and I recorded this in 2013 with the hopes of releasing it in October 2013, the very first Halloween in which the podcast existed. Well, that never happened. This show is actually released in 2014, February 2014 to be exact. That's right, our very first Halloween special was never released in October. It was released 4 months late. Insanity, I know. It's craziness. But look, that all changes now. Our very first Magic Our Way Halloween special will now be released in October and hopefully get the recognition it so deserves. I re-edited and remastered this Halloween special to match the standards that we have established for us today, and in doing so, I found that it was a lot of fun listening to a very young Danny and Kevin, completely green under the gills, very newbie podcasters. It was pretty awesome. So please pardon that aspect of it. And look, the next few weeks, we will be presenting our Walt Disney World 50th Anniversary Trip Report shows. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned to these future shows. So enough of my jibber jabber. Please enjoy this encore presentation of our very first Halloween special from 2013.
All right, it's a little cliche, but we couldn't do our first Halloween show without doing the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, God, no.
The
Absolutely
hard part was trying to figure out a way to do this that no one's really ever done before.
Because everybody's probably doing something about the Haunted Mansion, but we wanted to do our own little spin.
And we can't necessarily guarantee that no one's ever done this before. We were so busy with the research for this that we didn't really research whether or not anyone's ever done it before.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do it, and want to hear it. Here we go.
So what we did was I pulled about 15 myths or legends, I guess you'd call them, about the Haunted Mansion. And Kevin over here.
I know nothing. I have not seen these lists or nothing. I'm not privy to any information that Danny's about to spew forth at this moment.
Yes, they were delivered in a mason jar on my porch.
Yes, by Stearns and whatever, Foster, whatever that.
Funkin' Wagnall.
Funkin' Wagnalls, whatever that accounting
Sealed
firm of sealed and delivered and signed, sealed. And
So Kevin's going to let us know. I'm going to read the myth or the legend or whatever it is with regards to the Haunted Mansion. Kevin's going to let us know whether or not it's true or false.
Yep, and if you're listening to the show, go ahead and play along with us and we'll discover the truth of what is fact and what is fiction.
Because there are various myths and legends, and I'm sure there was no way I could find them all. I mean, I stopped at 15.
15?
Yeah, there are at least 2 others, and I made it a point that I didn't want to include anything unless I could 100% guarantee that it was an actual myth or legend making the rounds about the mansion.
Okay, so we're striving for accuracy here.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the extent that we go through our research here amongst our busy life for you. Mm-hmm. So get ready, hang on your shorts. Danny, I am ready whenever you are.
You're ready.
I am ready.
All right, Kevin is walking into the sound booth chamber as we speak.
Yes.
You got your earphones on.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, right over here, Kevin.
Oh, hey,
how's it going?
Okay.
All right, are you ready for...
assuming you're talking to me, but I can't hear you because I'm in the soundproof booth.
Are you ready for myth number 1, Kevin?
I am ready for myth number 1.
Okay. Tell me if it's true or false.
Okay, here we go.
One of the images on the singing bus in the graveyard of the Haunted Mansion belongs to Walt Disney.
That is false.
That is correct.
Absolutely false.
Who does it belong to?
I believe it blings. What's that? The bass sounding voice guy. What's his name? Not X. Thurles Ravenscroft.
That is absolutely correct,
Yes.
Kevin.
Ding, 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 ding.
And I thought you just played like some kind of applause music or something.
Oh, I should pull that up, shouldn't I?
So, all right. So that is true. Thurl Ravencroft. What is he known for?
He was known. Did he sing the song? No, he didn't sing the song, did he? He's a bass voice. He's known for in a lot of different movies.
Yeah, no. Outside of the world of Disney.
Oh, outside the world
of Disney, there are 2 things that he's known for, particularly.
Oh, not Jed Clampett. No, that's not him.
Jed Clampett.
Yeah, he had something to do with Disney World. That
Buddy Upson. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not him. Outside of the world Disney, what did he do? I know this.
Just hear his voice.
I know. I hear
his voice in your head. What did he do? One thing that he did is well attached to another major holiday.
Was he the Grinch? He was the Grinch.
Yeah.
He was the Grinch. Yes.
Well, he wasn't. Boris Karloff was a narrator, but he sang.
He sang the voice.
You're the mean one, Mr.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Yeah, that's him.
We're 2 holidays early, so. But yeah, the Grinch. He was the Grinch. Right,
and cool. The other thing he was known for?
Can I phone a friend or
Tony the Tiger?
Oh, that's right. That's
They're
right.
great.
Tony the Tiger. Yes, they're great.
So that is the one that is most often mistaken with Walt Disney. It is, in fact, Thurl Ravencroft. Good job.
I think if I remember, his bust is like laying on the side. Yes.
Yeah,
it's got the little mustache and everything. Yeah, it's broken.
All right. Next up, Kevin.
All right, here we go. Number 2.
The organ in the Grand Ballroom of Disneyland's Haunted Mansion is actually the organ that Captain Nemo used in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think when that movie came out.
Would it help you if I answer that for you, or?
Yeah. Why don't you do that for me? Because that might give me some clarity.
Some room to think here.
Some room to think. Yeah. So it's
1954.
1954. So I might say true.
That is absolutely true.
Oh yes. Oh
yes,
right.
It is.
2 for 2. Right on.
Yes. Only the one in Disneyland. There's only one.
The one in Disneyland is the
one
actual
in Disneyland
prop.
is the actual prop from the movie.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. You ready for number 3?
Number 3. Yes, let's do it. I'm on a roll.
At one point, the Haunted Mansion used live actors to scare the guests.
I want to say true.
It is true.
Yes, and I remember this because I remember there was that part with the clock scene when the doom buggies turned around and there was a dude that would dress up in knight in shining armor. This was in Disney World, and he used to jump forward and go boo, or not really boo. He would just jump forward and it would scare me. Yeah,
Oh,
land.
you actually saw the night?
I saw the night. Yeah.
Oh wow! To me, this is just a legend. I never saw the night.
I saw the night when I was. Here's the thing: when I was younger, like, my parents loved the Haunted Mansion, and me being a little kid, I was scared ridiculous. There were times when I was little that I would ride through that ride with my eyes closed. I didn't want nothing. I wanted nothing to do with it. So I would literally sit between my parents. I'd have them squeeze me in, like a sandwich or something. So nothing could get me. I'd close my eyes. I didn't even want to see the hitchhiking ghost. They weren't even funny to me. I was like, I don't want anything to do with it. And I remember the first time that dude jumped at me, I lost it. I was like, oh my God, no. And I remember that. And then as I got older, I kept expecting to see that happen because I was ready for it by that point. And I guess they stopped doing it at some point. I don't know when. And it just, the suit of armor just kind of stood there.
Well, it got to a point to where I guess kind of got hysterical about it from what I gather. And not just did they freak out, but they would hurt the guy in the armor. Oh,
yeah.
Because he'd lunge and they'd lunge back. And
I mean, it's
actually
scary.
I remember reading something in the, is it Mouse Tales by, is it David Koenig who did it?
Yeah, he does all the things that happen in Disney World. Yeah.
Where he talked about, I think there was a section in there about, the night and talking about how the night, like, especially like on like, when you had a lot of teenagers in the park, like whether it be a grad night, he would come across some interesting little makeout sessions happening in the dude buggy. Like he'd go to scare and be like,
awkward.
He'd see a little something you didn't expect quite to see.
Yeah, a lot more than he expected. Yeah, I guess that'd be a good Valentine show, wouldn't it? Number one makeout attractions in Walt Disney World or Disneyland.
Ooh, the only one I've ever seen was the little piece of grass right over there by Finding Nemo. People were getting over there hard and heavy in that little grass.
Really?
Yeah, because you can get behind there and it's a little bit obscured so people can't really see you. But if you come out a certain angle, you could see down that way, and there were two teenagers going at it pretty hot and heavy.
Oh, I'll have to look for that. But yeah, the Haunted Mansions, I mean, just reveal a little truth. That's the only one I've actually made out on was the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, did you?
Yes. I mean, not anything hot and heavy, just it's dark. It's convenient, just lean over for a little smooch and, one thing,
Well, I guess that was back in the days before they didn't have cameras everywhere.
Oh, it's okay. I think I was ignorant to the fact that there may have been cameras. If somebody wants to watch me kiss my wife or girlfriend, then so be it. Whatever.
Oh, wait, how old were you?
I don't remember. It was a while, I've been going to Disney World for a while, so.
Is it the current wife?
There's a history. Yeah, the current wife has been privy to such tales, adventures, I guess, through the Haunted Mansion. It's just fun, it's neat. I love the Haunted Mansion now, and I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite.
It's good stuff. I can't say it's the most romantic thing.
You see, if my wife tried that with me, like if we were riding and she tried to make out with me, I'd like push her off and be like, "Hey, look, stop it! You're missing the ballroom scene. Look down there.
There goes Thurls. There goes Thurls. You're missing Ravenscroft, Mr. Ravenscroft.
No, there's two duelists back there. You didn't see that, did you? Yeah, you're looking down there. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Let me hear you. Let me show you how they do that effect.
All right. So you're 3 for 3.
I'm 3 for 3. Yeah, this is going pretty good.
You're doing very good.
Yes,
I try to put the easier ones towards the top.
That works. I'm feeling confident now.
All right. Shortly after the Haunted Mansion opened at Disneyland, a guest was so frightened by the horrific attraction that she suffered a fatal heart attack. The ride was closed and completely revamped, with all the frightening elements being removed and replaced with a much tamer version that you see today.
I want to say false. That's a myth.
That is very much a myth.
Yes. 4-4. Thank you very much.
Very nice. Yeah, that was one that's kind of like if you listen to any of those Disneyland TV, and trust me, I went through all of them. If you listen to it, they all tell that story about the guest who suffered a heart attack.
The reason why they had to tame the Haunted Mansion.
Attraction down, yeah, exactly. Sticking on that vein though, the Hatbox Ghost. You remember him?
I never saw him, but I do know him. Yes,
we might be too young to have seen him.
I would love to have seen him though. We've probably seen him in like auctions and stuff. I know I've seen him like.
There's rare video online of him. The Hatbox Ghost was quickly removed from the attraction shortly after it opened because his appearance was considered way too frightening for the younger guests.
I think that's a myth.
That is definitely a myth.
Do we know why?
Yes, the effect didn't work all that well.
Really?
Yeah, his head would disappear from his body and reappear in the hat box next to him. And the effect was done with lighting. And the thing of it is that the mansion was, the closer you got to the effect, the less it worked. And so you had to pass right by it. And so the effect didn't work quite as well. So they just took it right out. That's why they removed.
So why didn't they just put like some strobe lights and, like the Yeti thing?
Disco
Yeti,
Hatbox?
disco Hatbox?
Yeah.
Would that would have worked?
I don't know that would have got rid of his head any better, but yeah, I mean, one of the things about the Haunted Mansion, and we can maybe get into this a little bit later, is it's one of those attractions that has been so loved and admired that fans have come up with their own appreciation and stories about it. And what Disney has then done is allowed the fans to help write the story and the legend of the Haunted Mansion in such a way like the Hitchhiking Ghost. I mean, they never had names. Fans or cast members or whoever it is that named them, and now Disney has adopted that as the names of the ghosts. Is it Ezra, Phineas, and Gus?
Yes.
Those are the three guys there. Same thing with Master Gracie. I mean, it was never the intent for the manor to belong to Master Gracie. Was just paying tribute to Yale Gracie, and
through folklore and urban legend, that just what came out of it.
Yeah, and so now people consider Master Gracie to be the ghost host that you encounter when you walk into the mansion. So people have had a lot to do with writing the story of the mansion as it has gone on.
And if I could piggyback, it's like, technology as well. As technology progresses and, the ability to do certain things allows the mansion to grow and evolve with the special effects and everything else. I mean, for example, the whole staircase scene in Walt Disney World's version, I mean, I don't know how they might have been able to accomplish that, but maybe not as to the clarity of detail that they can now. And there's a lot of things they can do now that makes it look a lot better. One effect that stands the test of time, Pepper's Ghost.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier. Still works.
One of the things that they said that they were going to do when the mansion was originally designed as a walkthrough was a footstep style effect, kind of similar, I guess, to what you see
in the staircase scene.
In the staircase scene.
Huh.
But it was going to be like the sea captain's ghost, and he was going to leave footprints.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But again, like when you're doing like a walkthrough effect, and Raleigh Crump kind of covered it. When you're doing a walkthrough, you have a lot more time to kind of set up things, and you got people stationary at one point, and things can happen and they can progress. When you're doing a ride through, and that's what it became. It's because they realized how many people needed to push through this thing. You lost out on a lot of those cool effects that would have taken a while to set up. And one of the ones I remember Tony Baxter talking about was that the sea captain would appear, he would tell the story, and then he would dissolve into these bubbles and then melt into the floor in some kind of a way. And a lot of people actually witnessed the effect and said it was an amazing effect, but they never got to do it because they switched to this ride through.
Right. I know one of the things with the ride through they liked was that they could direct the people's attention to where they wanted it to be. Yeah, like what made the real person in a suit of armor so effective, because you were directed at the clock, with the claw going behind it with a shadow, and then all of a sudden you turn around and boom, there he is. So that makes it effective. So I guess that there's a plus to that. But yeah.
Yeah, and for the longest time they were saying that over at Disneyland, the Doom Buggy would turn towards where the Hatbox Ghost was supposed to be, but there would be nothing there. And I think they ended up replacing it with like the organ. Like you see the organ scene in Disney World with the shadow.
It's got the shadow on the floor, yeah.
Now, I don't remember seeing that when I went this past year to Disneyland. What I saw where the Hatbox Ghost used to be, which I thought was the coolest thing in the world, and I said it when we got back, and I did look it up, and it absolutely was a tribute to the Hatbox Ghost, was a hat rack.
Oh, cool.
A hat rack.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
Where the Hatbox Ghost used to
be. I've heard that. Yeah, I wish I would have seen that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could see it on video. I could check it up on YouTube. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
All right. Now, you're 5 for 5.
5 for 5. All right, good.
All right, here we go. Myth number 6. If you look in the pavement of the exterior queue of Walt Disney World's Haunted Mansion, you'll find the bride's ring is embedded in it.
Man, this is a tough one. Because I remember hearing about this, but I can't remember if it's true or not. Or if it was the latest edition or not. Oh, heck, I'll just say it's true.
It is true now.
Now it's true.
Now it's true. If we would have done this before the interactive queue, that would have been an absolutely false statement. No, but once again, like we were talking before, people contribute to the legend of the Haunted Mansion. There was one of the little stakes that you see for the railings that existed there, and I guess they cut it off, and that little remnant of that railing remained. And people came up with, again, fans, cast members, whoever it was, came up with this idea that was the ring of the bride. The bride tossed the ring out of the window, or the phantom tossed the ring out of the window, whatever, and it embedded on there, and that story survived. When they redid everything,
they made it factual.
Yeah, they made it factual. You can go actually find the ring now.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never found the ring. I've heard about it. I'll have to go look when I go.
Saw it last time we were there. I mean, it's before it wasn't a ring. I mean, you could really look at it and be like, yeah. I mean,
It was like a post for...
you could kind of see where it's
online
like,
thing.
yes, people are having fun. This one, there's no doubt about it. They intended it to be a ring.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Doing good.
Going to the next one. On occasions, the Haunted Mansion has had to be shut down temporarily, so hazmat crews can come in and clean out the ashes of the deceased because family members have scattered their loved ones' ashes while on the ride to make them the honorary 1,000th guest of the mansion.
I've heard this, but I want to say false.
That's absolutely true.
Oh, no kidding.
Absolutely true.
Wow.
Disney does not. Now, one of the things about these myths that I found out is that Disney really does not like to admit to anything, especially when it comes to death. But this has happened on more than one occasion, apparently.
No kidding.
In fact, one of the mansion itself has a lot of ghost stories.
Of course.
Especially the one in California. And one of the ones that I've heard was that there was a woman whose son died of I don't remember what they say he died of. I'm sorry. She had a son who died, and his favorite attraction was a haunted mansion.
Okay.
And my impression was that she had asked whether or not she could spread the ashes on the ride. And Disney was like, ma'am, like, absolutely not. You can't. I mean, but it's great that he was a fan. And then she wrote it and she did it anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And what's unfortunate about that is I guess what people don't realize is that when you do something like that, they especially this day and age where, you have all this terrorist threat. You see white powder, what do you think? You think an anthrax, or something like, so they have to shut this thing down. Unfortunately, those ashes are just swept away and cleaned away, and people end up, their final remains end up in a...
They're scattered, not necessarily
in a trash heap
attraction.
somewhere. It never ends up where it wants to be. But apparently this little boy now can be seen from time to time crying at the exit. Like, you'll see a phantom little boy crying at the exit of the attraction.
That's frightening.
Looking for his mommy.
This is in Disneyland.
I believe this was in Disneyland.
Wow. Yes. Poor thing. I wonder if his mom has been there to visit.
I would hope so. But going beyond that, now that part of it, that's a story I was not able to specifically confirm, but I was able to confirm that this has happened on more than one occasion.
More than one occasion. Okay, wow.
In fact, at both of them. At the one in Walt Disney World and in Disneyland. If you look it up, you can find it.
Okay. So I missed one there. I'm all right.
Yeah, and only one, though. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'm doing okay so far. That was a tough one, though.
That was a little bit of a tough one.
That was a tough one.
I couldn't believe that myself. That it sounded so fantastic that it's like, surely no one did it. But
Right, exactly. But alas, there you go.
All right, next one. The Haunted Mansion has 5 ravens. Did you notice that?
No.
Whenever you ride through the mansion, you'll see about 5 ravens.
5 different ravens?
Mm-hmm. You'll see one in the conservatory over there by the coffin.
Yes.
Let me out.
Yeah.
The seance, back of Madame Leota's chair.
Uh-huh.
The rooftop when you're exiting the attic.
Okay,
Going
yeah.
backwards, you'll see the raven. I believe there's one over a crypt. And then someone said there was one on the balcony. I'm sorry, not the balcony, the ballroom. But I haven't been able to individually confirm that.
That'd be hard to find.
Yeah, but they say it's in the ballroom on the balcony against the rear wall.
Okay.
So 5 different ravens all throughout the mansion's attraction. And they say that this is because at one time, the raven was envisioned to be the attraction's narrator and not the ghost host that you hear in your head.
Huh. I'll say that's true.
That's absolutely true.
Ah, yeah.
Tony Baxter even said that he found the original recordings of the guy
that would
as the raven, doing the narration on the attraction.
That is really neat. I always think Edgar Allan Poe with Nevermore,
Do you know who originally did the narration of the Haunted Mansion in Paris?
No.
Vincent Price.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
It's absolutely true.
It's funny. We're doing a Halloween show for the marching band, and I write the scripts for the person to read over it, and I quoted a Vincent Price thing from Michael Jackson's Thriller. What is it? No mere mortal can resist the evil of the Thriller. Yeah. So I'm making the announcer guy say that. And then we hit the big notes.
Wait, the announcer of the on the
on the
game
loudspeaker, at the game, yeah. So when we go on the field, he reads my script, and I'm him say some stuff. Like for the Disney show, we did Trash in the Can from like Tarzan, and I made him say, "Ladies and gentlemen, get ready! It's about to get jungle in here." And he read it. So far, he's read everything I've thrown at him.
Oh man, you got to keep pushing the envelope to see what he won't say.
Yeah, I'm trying. Let's see what I can do. I mean, I have to stay within boundaries, of course, university and stuff. But I'm okay. I'm just keep throwing some stuff at him and see what he does. I'll be interested to see what he does this weekend. It's pretty neat. I know we want to do This Is Halloween next year for
Oh,
one of
really?
for as part of our Halloween show. We want to do a little Nightmare Before Christmas. I
Nice.
think that'd be cool. I think that'd be really neat. But anyway, I digress. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right, so still missed one. I'm good.
Yes. Next myth. The reason that the Haunted Mansion stayed empty for 6 years is because Walt Disney used it as a second home when he would go to California.
I say that's false.
That is false.
Yes. All right.
The reason it stayed empty for 6 years is because they were working on the World's Fair and never got around.
Going around and getting it. Oh, interesting. Because I knew he had that apartment. I mean, granted, that would have been a neat little house.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, they were the actual house that they were planning for him was the one over there, right over there by Pirates of the Caribbean. What am I thinking of?
Club 30? No, not Club 33.
Not Club 33, but there was an area over there by, and they ended up turning it into the Dream Suite.
Well, I always refer to it as Walt's apartment.
Yeah, the Walt's apartment thing I always heard of was the one above the fire engine. I'm talking about like they were actually devising something a lot bigger. That was going to be where the Dream Suite is now, which is right, and they closed something to make room for it, and I can't remember what it is. It was like almost like a little art gallery kind of thing.
Okay.
But I can't remember.
That's all right.
But all right. So going to the next one.
Go on to the next one, yeah.
The white hearse that sits outside Disneyland's Haunted Mansion was used to transport Brigham Young to his final resting place.
I say that's true.
That is false.
Oh, I missed
That
two.
has been a rumor that's been going around for a while now, but that is absolutely false. Although the one that sits outside the Haunted Mansion in Florida was used in the John Wayne film.
Oh, okay.
So that one did have a little bit of...
That one's black.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Missed two.
Missed
I
two.
missed two. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Here you go. Yale Gracie. Master Gracie, we were talking about him
Yes.
earlier. Yale Gracie, the Imagineer who designed many of the mansion's special effects, was shot to death as he lay sleeping next to his wife in the cabana at his private beach club. His wife is only wounded. The murder to this day and its motives remain an unsolved mystery.
Oh, let's say false.
No, that's true. I wouldn't have made that up. That's
Really?
Yeah. I
Wow.
wouldn't have made up anything about a guy dying.
Wow. Wow. That is some serious CSI stuff.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, they say it was just a transient that came through there, and just for whatever reason, he was sleeping in the cabana along the beach of this private beach club that they were members of, and his wife was hit like 4 times and survived.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Crazy.
that is. Well, I guess let sleeping dogs lie, so to speak. But anyway, all right.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. All right. So on top of the Haunted Mansion, there are chess pieces. Pawns, rooks, kings, queens, etc. decorating the roof like many towers. The chess pieces are there because the building's architect and attraction chief designer loved chess.
Let's see.
Now, if you want, I can show you pictures of these things. They actually do exist.
I think I've seen them. I don't know why they exist. Oh, I'll say true.
It's false.
False. Really? Wow.
That's absolutely false. They say it's completely coincidental.
Really?
Completely coincidental that they exist. That's the official Disney line on it. And it's really odd because every piece they say is represented there except for the knight. And why is the knight not there?
Because he's in the mansion?
That's one of the taglines. And the other line is because it's always night in the haunted mansion. So there's 2 taglines there. He's not there because he's in the mansion, or because it's always night in the haunted mansion.
Always night in the haunted mansion.
Yes. So that is actually false. That those things are there, but they are not meant. That's the storyline. Who knows? Maybe it actually was intended by the architecture, but they're not owning up to it.
I'll have to research to see who did the architecture, who designed all that. I'll be curious to see. Anyway, sorry.
All right.
I'm still in single digits in my misses.
Well, I told you the easy stuff was coming first.
Yeah, I know.
All right. The portrait in the stretching room of an elderly woman sitting on top of a tombstone is none other than Constance, the Haunted Mansion's bride. The stretching room.
Yeah,
you see the woman
yeah.
sitting on the tombstone.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I always thought it was a young girl, but I guess not. Young girl with the umbrella on a tightrope.
No, that's one of them. And she's standing over the alligator. There's a second one where there's an older lady holding a rose sitting on top of a tombstone.
Yeah, her hair's up.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
hair's
gray
in a
hair's
bun,
up, yeah,
and
in a
she's
bun.
in a tombstone.
Is that the bride? I want to say that's something that's come about now with the whole bride story. So I'll say true now.
Are you sure?
No.
Is that your final answer?
No, I'm not sure at all.
It is absolutely true.
Is it really?
It's absolutely true.
Has it always been true? Or is it just
No.
true now?
It's. I think it's true now. I think they have made it true. And if you look online, you can see this, and The tombstone that she's sitting on bears the name George. If you look at the husbands of the bride as you travel through the haunted mansion, you know how you see their faces disappear. One of the deceased is named George, and he also has a big bushy mustache that runs all the way. It's like a walrus type of like looking mustache, and if you look, he bears that exact same mustache in the picture in the haunted mansion.
Oh, that's
and you
heavy.
also see her holding the rose. You see the bride holding the rose. So the tagline is it's pretty much a sure thing that it's her.
Oh, that's wild. Okay.
All right.
So I got that one right.
Yeah, you got that one right.
I wasn't sure, but that was just pure dumb luck. But I'm all right with
that
it.
was an interesting. That was one I thought for sure was false.
Yeah.
But then, like, I actually found it where they put the picture of her with her husband George, and the similarities between the face of George, the name of George, obviously the rose and everything like that, and they correlated it back to the original stretching portrait.
Synergy.
All right. At one time, a guest pulled out a gun and fired a couple of shots into the glass during the ballroom section of the ride.
Oh my.
The bullet holes to this day still remain in that sheet of glass.
I'll say false.
That's absolutely true.
Really?
That's absolutely true. They were painted over to look like spider webs.
This is in the Walt Disney version or the Disneyland version?
This is in the Disneyland version.
Oh, wow.
Now, I think it happened at the Disney World version as well. And if I memory serves correct, I remember seeing this.
The bullet holes?
Not the bullet holes, but what they did was they took like a sticker of a spider web and they placed it on top of it. Now, I think it's been repaired since then, since they did the renovation of the mansion. But when we went to Disneyland, the ones that were where they painted him in, that was still there. And apparently it's because it would be so expensive to remove the one out of Disneyland.
Okay, I gotcha.
But that is absolutely true. Not only did he start shooting up the Haunted Mansion, he also shot up, I think it was Adventures through Inner Space or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, this guy apparently just went nuts one day.
Oh, what? He ran from the mansion to something else or whatever? Is that
Yeah,
true?
well, I mean, yeah, at that time they didn't have
the security or whatever?
security of the cameras. I want to say this happened in 74.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it
so
was
might have been
like
before like the pressure sensors and stuff
yes.
that they have on the floor and everything else.
So yeah, he got away with it. As
Wow,
far
that's
as I can
heavy.
tell.
That's pretty heavy.
They even know it was like a 22 caliber bullet. They even know the bullet that did it because like prior to that, the thing was it was a BB gun.
I'm about to say that'd be hard to see. It's all 22. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they did. They painted it, and you can find it online. Go look it
I'll
up.
have to look it up. Okay.
All right, so this brings us to the last one, Kevin.
Did I get that one right? No,
No,
I
you
didn't.
got that one
I got
wrong.
that one wrong. Okay.
You got that one wrong.
Okay, good.
All right, bring us to the last one.
Last one. Gonna finish strong.
All right. The Haunted Mansion is the only place in all of Disney where the cast members are told not to smile.
Not to smile. That's true.
That's false.
That's false.
The cast members are allowed to smile.
Oh, they just don't.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they play up the grimness of the characters, but they're not under any edict not to smile.
Oh, no kidding. So much for finishing strong. Okay.
Now, that was what? You got 6 wrong?
I got 6 wrong. Yeah. 6 out of 15.
Yeah, 6 out of 15. That's not so
Not
bad.
bad. How did you guys do? Email us at magicourway@gmail.com. Let us know how you did with a little trivia thing. Did you know all these? Did anybody get 15 out of 15? I mean, let us know. I'd be curious. Be truthful.
I'd be curious to see if any of the listeners could verify or unverify these two, because these were two myths that I've heard reported as being true.
Oh.
I doubt one. I think the other one's probably correct.
You could
But
not verify these.
I
so
could not
therefore they're
verify, so I didn't include this. But
Exactly. Okay.
Here you go.
What you got?
In the attic of the Haunted Mansion, and I'm thinking they're talking about specifically Disneyland here.
Right.
In the attic of the Haunted Mansion, there are bats that fly near the attic ceiling. They fly in circles because they are, in fact, there to disguise the room's ceiling fans.
Huh. That'd be clever.
Now, I believe that there are bats there flying in circles. I could not confirm whether or not that was the whole idea behind them being there, was to disguise the ceiling fans.
Disguise the ceiling.
But that's a definite myth about the mansion.
Have you seen the bats?
No, I wasn't even aware of that. I mean, you're looking at, the bride, you're looking at the portraits. You're not looking up and looking around beyond that.
I'll have to look up
It
to
is
see.
something to look for next time you're there.
Yes, absolutely.
And the second one I heard. Now, this one, I just can't imagine this anyway. This one is true. But at the beginning of the graveyard scene, the shoes worn by the scared gravedigger are actually a pair of Walt Disney shoes.
Oh, I can't believe that
I
one.
cannot
No.
believe that at all.
I can't believe that one.
That's another myth attached to the mansion.
Interesting.
So, there you go.
All right, next thing I want to talk about, Danny, is scariest rides or attractions, I guess, in Disney World. Things that, and we're talking current attractions, yes. So things that currently exist. We'll do some honorable mentions. Of course, I'm sure there are people out there really listening saying, what about this? What about that ride that used to be there? That used to be scary, da-da-da-da. It's like, we're going to address that. Don't worry. I'm sure we are probably thinking the exact same thing, what rides we're talking about that we're going to give honorable mentions to. But Danny and I, what we did was we came up with a list of 5 each of what we found to be the scariest rides. And you know, a lot of this I'm pulling from when I was younger. I was trying to think of the rides that I used to close my eyes on. You know, at one point or another, there were rides where several rides where I just had to keep my eyes closed. And nowadays, I mean, some of the newer rides that I'm going to talk about, I don't really have to keep my eyes closed, but I could see how they could be really, really frightening at some point. And every now and then, you know, it just makes me twinge a little bit. Every now and then, when I'm not thinking about it. You know, when I first used to ride the attractions and stuff, but you know, now I'm okay. But you know, I remember when I first rode this, I didn't know what was going on. It's kind of freaky, you know, with the effects and everything else. But anyway, I've rambled on too much with this intro. But you want to go first? You want me to start?
Sure,
I'll
go
go
first.
by park.
I didn't approach it by the kid in me. I approached it by to this day.
That still frighten you?
Yeah.
Or
okay, sure.
Could be deemed scary.
The ones that cause me the most dread. How about that?
Distress or dread. Okay.
Distress or dread for whatever reason, be it because it's scary or it's it's frightening in its own way.
Okay. All right. Go for it. Let's shoot one out there. What do you got?
So my number 5 is the Haunted Mansion because I don't find it to be that scary at all. Although I have seen it through the eyes of my little daughter, and it, you know, you can kind of go along with what you're saying. It is. It especially when they redid the sound effects in
they're clear now. Yeah. In the stretching room and everything else. Yes.
That sound when the glass shatters at the very end where you think something fell, and the stretching room was on, like, we did it the first time with her, she freaked, and from there on in we skipped that, and they were nice enough to let us skip it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And, you know, you get the little things popping up at the end and stuff like that. But, I mean, I've always just enjoyed it. To me, it's just such great fun. So,
back to the sound in the stretching room where they have the 3D sound where it sounds like he's swirling around you. That's just amazing. That's such an amazing sound effect.
And something you've just been deprived of for so long because, you know, prior to that, you were just used to hearing the voice and a drop and you heard the sound of, but it really sounded like it was happening now. Yeah,
it's just one of those things where technology finally caught up to what Walter really wanted to happen, thereby making that part of the mansion even better. All right, so, and also, just remember, you know, when I used to go through this when I was little, man, I used to keep my eyes closed, you know, sandwiched and everything else between my parents, you know. So, this Haunted Mansion definitely is my number 5 and as well.
Wow,
but it's fun. Yeah. I was definitely frightened.
Yeah, you transition out of it so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my number 5 as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this next one, Mission Space. I'm gonna go over the Epcot Center. Mission Space, I find to be a little frightening, only because of this whole spin factor, I guess. I could make the joke of Gary Sinise, but, you know, it's okay. He's not so frightening.
Lieutenant Dan can be very frightening.
He could, yeah, especially when he had that moment with God. You know, he was arguing back and forth with his no legs. You know, and then all of a sudden they got rich off a shrimp. But anyway, no, it's just a whole spin thing. Yeah, you can go on the other side that doesn't spin and you're okay. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm claustrophobic or something, but just being in a tight, cramped space with everything in your face, I do get a little bit of motion sick whenever I ride that ride. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, at the risk of spoiling my own list, but I mean, this is going to happen because we're going to be talking about the same rides here. Mission Space is my number 1.
Really?
And you know why?
Why?
I've never ridden it. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm scared to death to ride it.
Really?
And when you're that scared that you've never even stepped foot on it, not even once, because, I mean, look, I saw my brother-in-law ride it, and he's a pretty big dude, pretty tough guy, and he was a little green in the gills after riding that thing. And
not even a non-spinning version? You wouldn't consider going on it?
I'd consider going on it, but I'd feel like a child. You know?
Yeah.
I would feel like I'm riding. You know, you either do it or you don't do it, kind of thing. And to me, you know,
go big or go home. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go home. So that's why it's my number 1, because I'm so frightened of trying it because I'm primarily scared of vomiting. That, you know, with any ride that has barf bags.
Oh yeah. You know, like an airplane.
Exactly. So yeah, that's why it's my number 1, because I've never tried it, because I've never wanted to risk being that sick riding a ride, and I've seen the effects of it. It can be a little
You know, it's funny. I've only ridden that ride once, and that was it. That's all.
Never needed to go back.
Never need to go back. I'm good. You know, I rode, and I did it. I went big, and after that, I went home. Luckily, I rode by myself. Okay, my wife and child had retreated to the hotel. And I decided, I still have a little bit of energy left. I'm going to just go back to the parks. I got myself a little annual pass. I'm going to go ride the ride, finally. So I went on by myself, and luckily I rode with 2 other kids that happen to be pros at this. And there's like, hey, can I be that so-and-so position? Because you have to choose positions and stuff, the captain, co-pilot, blah, blah, blah. And so, can I be this? It's like, yeah, sure. I've never ridden this before. It's like, oh, you've never ridden this before? Oh, it's great. Da, 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 da. And they're walking me through it and stuff. And it's like, look, whatever you do, just keep your eyes on the screen. Don't look down or anything else. Okay, don't even worry about what they tell you to do, press buttons or whatever. Just keep your eyes on the screen. You'll be just fine. I did that for the most part, and I felt fine. I mean, granted, I was a little wheezy. I kept my eyes on the screen, except for one point. I thought in my head, let me see what happens when I look down. I looked down for a split second. I never looked down the rest of the ride. It was that convincing to me not to look down. But yeah, it's wild because it's like almost like you get carbonite frozen, and this little machine just comes over your face, and it's all the screens right in front of you and everything else, like the panel. It's wild.
It sounds like and one of these days, who knows? Maybe I'll get around to doing it. I've just never wanted to risk my wonderful vacation by vomiting there afterwards.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah, and I come from somebody who I've ridden Star Tours a couple of times. That's gotten me sick. Body Wars.
I'm about to say, what about Body Wars?
Body Wars was the worst. Like, Star Tours has gotten me a little woozy, but never too bad. I mean, usually you shake it off within a minute or two of getting out of there. Body Wars was
a whole fluid thing that used to get me.
It was a time crunch as to how much longer, because if this goes 30 seconds longer than what we are now, I'm in trouble.
I mean, I remember like when you're in the heart, I still hear the sound. It's like bloom, bloom. And you're thrusting back and forth. You're kind of rocking like you're in the sea, and it's like, oh god, okay, let's go. Let's shoot through the whatever aorta and get to the freaking brain so we can get energy and get out of here. Elizabeth Shue, let's go. But it was that one used to get me a little. I enjoyed the ride. I thought it was great, but it would get me a little bit motion sick.
Yeah.
That might have to be an honorable mention. Frightening, not because it's scary, only because you don't want to get sick.
Well, I mean, to me, the fear of physical harm is part of what makes it frightening. So that's why I've included this, because when you actually dread a ride, because I mean, look, you're in a theme park, they've tested these things out, you're in a very much of a controlled environment, and to still have that fear, that to me is part of what makes something, would qualify something for this list.
That's some good Imagineering.
Yeah, I think so.
So, all right, that was my number 4. That was your number 1. So, what do you have next on the list?
Next on the list for me at number 4 is Tower of Terror.
Really? Okay, that's my number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
See, Tower of Terror doesn't bug me too much. The up and down stuff, I don't get woozy. I don't get sick off of that. It's a sudden drop kind of thing, and it freaks you when it happens. I mean, it jolts you every single time, but I don't feel out of control. I feel safe within it, and the ghostly apparitions that appear going through the Twilight Zone is so cool.
That is neat.
And so yeah, I really enjoy that one quite a bit. It can be a little scary, but not going above and beyond.
Right. I remember when I first rode that ride, it was a little intimidating. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed all the effects. You went into the library or the office. Is it a library? Is that what it is? Yeah, the library scene. Is that what it is? Yeah, it's a library. You go into the library scene and you do the little pre-show thing. That was a little scary. It was a little frightening. And then when you walk into the boiler room, that place is just so magnificently themed.
Oh, you mean the check-in desk? And then they go into the library. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
You go through a check-in desk. I'm thinking of the queue, the lobby to the library. Okay.
Just that old jazz music that plays, a big band just really sets up that mood well. You go into that library, it just kind of scares you a little bit. And then when you empty out into the second queue area with the boiler room, it's just so magnificently themed that it's just like, it gave me a little trembles every now and then the first time I went into that ride. I remember that. I mean, I'm kind of scared of drop rides to begin with, even though I know they're safe. But, it's just, the theming was just so impeccable. And especially when you see the numbers on the elevators, where you could tell what floor something's on. And all of a sudden you see it go up, and then all of a sudden it just quickly kind of goes down. You know, and it's just like, oh, good Lord.
And not knowing how many times you're going to drop, how many, what the beat is that you're going to drop on. Like, generally you ride a ride like that and you get the feel of it, but now they've randomized it, so you have no idea.
That's a lot better. Yeah, I like it. I remember the first time it wasn't so bad because I knew how it was going to happen. And then they had Tower of Terror 2.0, and then they had 3.0, the tower is in control. I was just like, oh, this is much better. Because, I remember thinking, it's like, it would be cool if they started playing the end movie at the bottom, when you drop to the final shoot and you see that little little thing swirling around, and all of a sudden you shot back up.
Yeah.
Well, hello, we're doing that now, and it's just awesome. I love when it happens.
Absolutely. I remember, when we wrote it, it was like, you had that one thing, it was a slight jolt, and then it dropped you, and that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
And so when I went on there with Anna, my wife, and I just tried to explain to her, look, it's going to be okay. You're going to get that little sudden jolt, and then it's just going to drop you. I didn't realize that they had updated the software.
Oh, really?
So I told her that, and it went up and down and up and down. We happened to be sitting in a row with a very large man when we wrote it. So at that point in time, they had safety bars that came down.
Safety bars.
They still had the safety bars. And so the safety bar didn't come near her lap.
Oh. So did she get airborne?
Oh, she was clinging on to the thing. And to this day, I was making a lot less money then. But to this day, if I would have just known enough, I would have just purchased the picture. Because she has never gotten on it since.
Oh, really?
No, we'll not get back on it.
I love that ride.
That would probably be her number one.
Maybe if we go as a group, we could convince her, because that's just a killer ride.
Yeah, I had my niece and nephew all wide-eyed and, please, Auntie Anna, please go on the ride. And no.
It's funny. I remember the first time I rode, I didn't know that we got into the drop chute. It almost seemed like the air in a drop chute was the same temperature as the air in the third dimension. Like when you see the lines form and the doors where the doors are actually open, I couldn't tell that I went into the chute. And I also felt like there was more music back then. So you really kind of covered, you hear the little tracks going chicking, 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 and things locking in place, I don't know. It just seemed like it was smoother and you couldn't tell you were going into the other elevator, getting locked in, and all of a sudden you started dropping. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering something different because I was so adrenalized in the moment that I didn't notice it. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do kind of, to an extent. No, I always remember feeling like, oh, wow, we're here. Right. Like all of a sudden it just happens. Like you're just, and I just always feel it's just because I'm so mesmerized as we're going through the third dimension, looking at all the different things and trying to appreciate them all. And before you know it, like you said, the lines line up and you're like, oh, we're here. So
yeah, it's almost tough to see everything in the third dimension, where it's like, even though we're kind of crawling along, it's like there's so much to see. Like I always love looking for the little photo picture of the car as it's going by and you see it in that little globe. I think they still do that. I don't remember.
I don't remember it.
But it's you have to look down when you're going across the third dimension. And I guess there was a video camera somewhere that was infrared, and it used to, as you'd pass by, you'd see reflections of your car going through, the faces and stuff in between. It was really neat. It was like real time. I don't know if they replace it with just a random car now or whatever, just representing just a random car in third dimension. But I remember the pictures I used to see my face in that, I think, if I remember correctly. If memory serves me right. But anyway, yeah, Tower of Terror is actually really excellent, and it does a good job of doing a little scary. But my next one is going to be Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Yeah, and not all of it. It's a lot of jovial. It's a lot of funny. But there was that one point just before the drop, where you had the scene with the skeletons with the swords, they're dead and they're on the beach and they have the crabs and they have the eerie music and the dark colors of lights watching off. And then I guess now you have, what is it, Blackbeard? Is he talking to you, or is it back to Davy Jones? I can't remember in that mist.
It was Blackbeard last I saw, but I thought they kind of still switched it out.
Yeah, they might have switched out. But anyway, before this, I used to get scared before that drop because of, the skeleton that was talking and the ghost ship steering everything. That was quite frightening to me when I was little. And that was, I don't know, did that make your list or no?
No, not at all. Although now you say that the one part, the drop didn't concern me. The skeletons didn't concern me. The one part of that ride that filled me with dread that I hated and it gave me the creeps every time we went on it was when you pass under that bridge and that dirty pirate.
Oh, that hairy leg?
Yes. Just dangles in front of you and you're just instinctively maneuvering yourself away from it and without really
Yeah, because anytime you think that might drop on you.
Yeah, it's like that stinky pirate foot is gonna fall on me, or it's gonna touch me, or it's like it's a robot.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
It's a fight at length. It's never gonna leave. But.
I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, that gets me every time.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, going on to number 3. My number 3 scariest attraction, and again, this is personal, so this just has to do with me.
All right,
is Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. You know why?
Why?
And it's not just me. Our friend Eli also hates riding Space Mountain for the exact same reasons, and it has to do with a vertical. I'm 6'2".
I'm about to say, is this a tall person?
This is a tall. I feel like every time I ride that ride, I'm going to lose my head. Those cars are so uncomfortable when you're that tall and you're so squinched up in there and you feel like you're so hunched over and you can't see where you're going. But there's something about your sense of feeling. So when you're in the dark, your other senses are heightened and it feels like you're passing through steel girders and frames and
within inches. Huh?
Yes, within inches of your head. And it's just such an uncomfortable ride because I feel like at any point in time, I'm going to lose my head. And if not, I might get a Charlie horse because I'm so crammed up in this that I might jolt forward and then lose my head.
Oh my gosh.
It really is one of those things where it's like, I've ridden it a dozen times. It's I like sensation. And I know it's not going to happen, but every time I go through that exact same scenario. The one at Disneyland now, not so bad.
Really?
Absolutely.
I know what gets me on the Space Mountain is that first drop after the lift hill because it goes straight and you can't really see where the track goes ahead of you. And when I remember first riding, I was like, oh my God, where's the rest of the track? I'm just going to fall off the track. It veers to a very sharp right, left or right, depending on what track you're on at a banked angle. So it's like you don't see where it goes because it's not illuminated. You just see you go up and you come off the lift hill, you go straight for a little bit and you see nothing until you veer off to whatever direction you're going to, depending on track, so that used to scare me. And I remember the first time I rode that, I wasn't really big into coasters. That's another ride I kept my eyes closed. So my list probably should be like rides I've kept my eyes closed on the entire duration.
I kept my head hunched all the way down and my eyes were wide open trying to see where those little girders or beams would be that might take my head off.
So needless to say, you didn't do the arms up thing, the hands up thing.
No. Other people did, and I'm like, stop, you're going to lose it all.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so let's see. We said Mission Space. I'm running out because I think we had a couple that were, but I have some that I could definitely honorable mention. But my number 1, I'm going to go ahead and jump to that.
Well, what happened to number 3? What was your number 3?
My number 3 is Mission Space.
Oh, okay. So in number 2?
My number 2 was Tower of Terror.
Okay. So you're going straight to number 1. Okay.
Yeah, I guess because that's all I have left over is number 1. And I'm going to say Dinosaur.
All right.
I remember when that ride first came out, it was a bit frightening, especially with the lighting the way that it is and all the loud sounds. I remember that being very loud ride. So it was like very real. It was like it was right there. And you had that Carnotaurus that it would appear out of nowhere, just scary and stuff out of deep blue. You have all these little sound cues, like when a pterodactyl comes flying in. It's pretty wild, and you're going through pitch black darkness, veering back and forth, and you hear all these sounds and voices of things chasing you, like the Carnotaurus is chasing you. That used to be a bit frightening. That gave me, definitely made my heart beat a little bit more. Not because of the fact that it is a thrill ride, but the fact that, you don't know what was going on, I mean, now I'm kind of used to it, but still at the same time, it's a little frightening.
Oh, absolutely.
It's definitely a little frightening to me.
That was the one ride when we went to Disney World for the very first time, and we went on. My wife made a point to ride everything, and she's not a big coaster person, but I mean, when we got to that was the one ride that she tried to back out of.
Really?
Yes, but we were in the line. And I remember her pointing, and she's like, this thing says that you shouldn't ride if you have a history of this.
Right.
She was just like, my family, there's a history of high blood pressure. And it's like, will you stop and just own up to it and get on this ride? And
what happened after she rode?
She loved it.
It's a great
Absolutely
ride.
Loved it. Yeah.
I love it now.
Yeah, me too.
I really do love that ride. Oh, the last effect where you go down that hill and the Carnotaurus just launches at you. That freaked me out the first time that happened. Honest to God, that was just frightening.
Yeah.
But it's a killer ride now. Just amazing effects and everything else.
Well, my number... Okay,
You're at number 2, I guess.
This would be my number 2.
Yeah.
Is Astro Orbiter.
Astro Orbiter.
Astro Orbiter. Have you ridden this thing?
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's the height. Maybe.
Oh, the one in Disney World then.
Disney
right?
World.
Not the one.
No,
in
not the one in Disneyland. You ride that thing, and you're at such an angle where I swear to God, and again, it was my height, it was the way I was tilted. I swear to God, I held on to the other side of that thing with a death grip because I swore I was going to fall. Because maybe it's because you're so high off the ground. Yeah. I swear to God, I was going to slide right out that thing. And I remember because I was holding my daughter at the time, and I had her with one arm, and the other arm latched onto the side of the Astro Orbiter because I could have sworn I was going to go sliding right out of that thing. And they really don't give you nothing in the way of a seatbelt or anything. It's like that little cloth.
Little web belt thing.
Well, but yeah, it's nothing that's going to hold you in there. So I thought for sure I was done.
You were done.
So yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because you're so high up or because I don't know, like the planets are going in the opposite direction, so you seem like you're whizzing by or what it is, but there was something about that ride that made me feel like they don't have me on this.
Huh.
I might come out of this thing.
Yeah. You might launch it into space or something.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna do. I don't have a number one because I ran out, right? So I mean, I have a number one, but I don't have any more because I ran out. But I'm gonna do an honorable mention here. Oh, and that would be the Universe of Energy before Ellen. This was before Ellen. I'm bringing up a little old attraction, but that same animatronic is still in existence, just not in the way it used to be. I don't know if you remember going around the ride. You initially go into the dinosaur room and you make the left turn. And there's a point where this little serpent with snarly teeth popped out.
Yes. I got a picture of him.
Yeah, I remember when, that used to hide, and as your car came through, it popped up. That used to scare me every time. It was just frightening to me. All the sounds and everything else. Now it's not so bad because he's always out and Ellen's fighting him with a stick. So it's not so bad. But if you look at that little serpent, he still looks mean as ever. His teeth are still long and sharp. He doesn't scare me now, but I bet to my daughter, it might be a little frightening.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of which, if you can do an honorable mention along those lines, it's tough to be a bug.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Chopper. Yeah.
That was one where we actually had to, like, when Eli went with Hannah the first time, we had to leave.
Really?
We had to leave early because she freaked out. That was the one part where, like, when the spiders descended, there was smoke around. You're getting stung in the back as it's happening. I mean, you got Hopper popping out at one point.
It's a loud attraction.
Yeah, I mean, it can be very, very frightening. I've seen more than my fair share of kids getting pulled out of that attraction when it happened. So, that can be scariest. Very scary when you're a child.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go to your number one then. So where do you at?
Well, number one was Mission Space.
That's right. We did mention that because we mentioned that already.
Now we also want to do like a special acknowledgement of rides that don't exist anymore. We talked about those previously. Alien Encounter.
Alien Encounter was an incredibly scary attraction. I loved it.
I remember riding it. I don't remember being freaked out on the level like a lot of people remember it being, but I remember it being cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very cool. I remember the first time I rode it, I didn't know what was going on, and that was one of the first uses of 3D sound in their attractions, and it was very effective. And that alien was quite frightening, especially when he broke the glass. That was kind of freaky. It's just like, oh my gosh, it was fun. It was a fun sensory attraction. Yeah, it was pretty frightening. And this was before the Tim Curry robot pre-show. All right, so yeah, the original robots were Phil Hartman from like the Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Live skits and stuff. He was the original voice. He was Tom 2000. So that we're taking Alien Encounter back to those days before it was a little bit. I guess I don't know if it was really tamed. When they did the redo with Tim Curry and all that kind of business, it was still about as frightening, with all the sounds and stuff and the lighting and everything else. But yeah, that was definitely one heck of a scary ride,
Oh yeah. So it was I always felt like Snow White's Scary Adventure. I never realized, again, you ride it with a little one, and there, when that witch turns around, it's such a. If you're not knowing to expect it, it's such an off-putting effect that
absolutely, yes.
It can really spook you. And you go into the forest with all the mangled branches and everything like that, like looking like little creatures and monsters. Oh, it was a very, very spooky ride.
Yeah, especially when you're going through the forest, like you're Snow White running through the forest with the eyes and the trees that talk and stuff. You're just freaking out. Yeah, that was another ride where I sat between my parents and I kept my eyes closed for the most part.
Speaking of which, a little trivia on the Haunted Mansion. When I was doing my research for our myth segment, Do you know that one of the voices, and I think it's the one of the prisoner, it's this really gravelly voice that you hear when you're getting ready to exit the mansion. You're going right by the knight, the prisoner, and the executioner. Yeah. You'll hear this really gravelly voice, and that voice is the exact same voice used in Wizard of Oz. The guy who did it in Wizard of Oz, he spoke one of the trees. Like when Dorothy's like, I don't want those apples or whatever. You remember the whole thing with the apple trees in there?
Yeah.
He was one of the angry trees in there. And that voice has always seemed so familiar to me. I could never place why, and that was why.
Oh, that's interesting. That is very interesting. All right, and for this segment, I want to talk about overlays. Not just overlays from Disneyland Resort, because we know they already do that, right? But I want to talk about if they were ever to bring Halloween overlays to the Walt Disney World Resort, what attractions we thought would benefit or maybe even lend well to having a Halloween overlay placed on them. So I came up with a little bit of a list where I thought that might be really effective. I have a really good number one that I thought would be really cool. So the only thing that we're not going to mention are the attractions that are already being done in Disneyland. Say like the Space Galaxy, the Space Mountain version, and the Night Before Christmas overlay in the Haunted Mansion. So we're thinking about other attractions in the world that would lend well to a Halloween overlay. So I'll go ahead and start with one that I thought would be fine, and that is the People Mover.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, the People Mover I think would be fun, with some decorations, a little extra this, that, and the other, especially within the tunnels when you go inside, some extra projections or whatever else. I think could be something really, really cool, really, really fun, like a haunted People Mover tour through Tomorrowland. Almost like not really Men in Black kind of thing, with aliens and stuff, although it could. You definitely could when you're dealing with the Tomorrowland, so to speak. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for different scenes that could definitely serve as a good Halloween overlay. You could probably decorate the carts, I guess the trains. Yeah, they're trains, right? Linear induction motor trains as some kind of mine car or something, overlay, and you're going into different mines and seeing different creatures and stuff and everything else. Like if you're exploring Mars or something, you're in a rover exploring Mars or something. But I think that might be a fun little adventure, maybe. And it could be also a Halloween overlay on the side of comedic. You could almost take it that way, not necessarily frightening, but just silly, like maybe you get slimed in one of the tunnels or something. I don't know. Or you meet Casper. I don't think that's a Disney entity, but just the different things. I think that'd be fun.
Continuing on that kind of comedic vein, I kind of felt like the Country Bears would be a great little,
that'd be neat.
Yeah, a great little Halloween overlay that they could do with the Country Bears. Still doing songs here and there, like little songs here and there, celebrating and kind of giving away the spooky nature of Halloween, but also more to that, telling little funny ghost stories.
Oh, that would be nice.
Kind of like you're around the fire, kind of, that's what I was envisioning for that. And I thought that would work well. You can also have the bears in little costumes here and there. I thought that would be kind of cool. Yeah,
and the little bear could put his teddy bear in a costume and such. That's actually a really good idea. And they have a Christmas show, so why not have a Halloween?
Well, they haven't
version?
done that one in forever.
Yeah, it has been a while. But I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't do a Halloween version of it going into there. But anyway, so my next one, and it's not as strong, but maybe might work, is Journey to Imagination.
Oh wow!
It's a dark ride, right? So it's already set up as far as atmosphere. You have projection screens and stuff all over the place now, and different like special effects, where you can actually kind of make this a little bit more frightening than you think. When you go through the different sounds and senses and stuff, you could really kind of make it pretty scary to the attraction goer. So I think that would be a fun little attraction to do, especially the part where your imagination just explodes the computer and there's all kind of wind and things go nuts. It might be like a Scooby-Doo adventure where you have Figment as your comic relief, taking you through, trying to guide you through this imagination of horror, so to speak, like the mind of a horror author. You're going through the imagination of that kind of a thing. So, and Figment's right there with you. So it gives a little levity to these, I guess, the heaviness of the overlay in and of itself,
Right. Yeah, that'd be nice.
And that might actually make draw some people to that attraction again, doing something different like that.
They need to do something.
Yeah, it needs something. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
I'd like to see them do something with PhilharMagic.
Really?
Yeah, I would either like to see them do kind of like how they do an amalgamation of Ariel,
Yeah.
Jasmine in Aladdin, the different Disney heroes. More of a villain show.
Ah, okay.
Where you're escaping from one villain, and just as you think you've cleared Ursula, here comes Jafar. Just as you think you've gotten past Jafar, here comes Scar. Something to kind of keep you running along those kind of lines. And if not that, first inclination was to do like a kind of turn it into and I know it's kind of cheating because we kind of said not dealing with the overlays that they've done, but I mean, I'd like to have seen a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of thing where Santa was working too much, tripped, fell, broke his leg. He needs Jack to fill in for him, and you're in the sleigh along with Jack.
Oh,
and you're going for a ride on the Nightmare
that would be neat.
Before Christmas kind of thing. I thought that'd be kind of cool, but I didn't really explore that idea too much. I kind of felt like it would be cheating a little bit because the Nightmare Before Christmas obviously would belong in the Haunted Mansion.
That would be such a great thing to do because that would appeal to so many Disney villain fans, Have one attraction where it's all Disney villains, you go through that particular thing.
And I think that would be an easy one to do.
Yeah, it's just a matter of a film of sorts. I know it's the cost of a film.
They're getting ready to put on the show, and all of a sudden, before you know that, just as the show's about to go on, the villain's like, hold up, hold everything. We're taking over the show.
That's right. And things happen. Oh, I think that'd be great. I would definitely go see that.
Yeah.
Let's see. My next thing that I have, test track. You can make like a haunted test track. It's pretty easy to convert it to, especially the way they have test track now with all the different screens and stuff. It should be pretty easy to put some kind of digital overlay on the ride itself. Maybe you're in the car carry of some sort, like a haunted vehicle that kind of just takes you through, and when you get into like you hit the truck, maybe you actually hit the truck this time, and then just kind of like reminiscent of the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, when you hit the train and you go into hell and all that kind of business. It's maybe the same kind of thing. You could almost do that with an overlay. You hit the truck and then you end up wherever you end up, and then maybe the devil banishes you into purgatory and you go outside and you take the track. And then before you know it, you're back because nobody wants you or something. I don't know. Test track. I put test track in there because I only think that would be easy to do. Nothing too major as far as having to retheme things. I mean, you have a lot of projections and sounds.
I was gonna say, couldn't be worse than the test track they have.
Yeah, exactly. On the star. But I put that in there just because I think that would be pretty simple to do.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the ones that I'd like to see done is. And this would be one of my primary ones. Like, we're getting into like the last 2 or 3, but one of the ones I'd like to see done is, of course, Big Thunder Mountain.
Okay.
I don't think that you've really kind of seen when you do Big Thunder Mountain, it's always understood that you're riding through a ghost town.
Yeah.
With no ghosts. So like if you had like these ghost miners chasing you, causing the cave in, if there's a point where it stops and like some apparitions appear, you're trying to steal our gold kind of thing, that kind of an overlay, I think that would be great. I mean, that would be so natural because that's the whole point, is that you're going through this haunted is that the mountain has a history and it's claimed so many people, and there's a cave in coming, and it's just such a natural progression that you'd be chased by these old ghost miners that were killed and searching for this gold, and now you're coming to take their gold. And I think that would be a great little overlay to do.
That would be a great overlay to do. I do like that one a lot. I have one more. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. And this is to take Toy Story and do an overlay. And the overlay that I would do with that is take the Wreck-It Ralph, the game Hero's Duty.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's what you play, because that's pretty frightening, especially if they're animals or bugs that or I forgot what they call them, viruses or something.
There were bugs in the game.
Yeah, they're bugs in the game that know nothing about being in a game. They're just regular old bugs that do what they're supposed to do. You can go through different scenes and just shoot the bugs, this, that, and the other, kind of protect yourself. You can project images in and around you of bugs flying. You could get just simple fans and blowing air jets and stuff to tussle you with your hair to pretend like they're like getting really awfully close to you, and then I guess the last scene could be like Ralph setting off the beacon or something. Yeah, and then some of the scenes toward the end could be be like you go into that Candyland, the Candy Crush game, and the bugs are there. You know, they're all pretty colored and stuff, but they're still bugs. But yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun to shoot, you know, to actually play that Hero's Duty game. You know, there's probably a level of adventure and fun. It probably still keep the line at over 100 minutes, you know, especially if boys found out that, you know, you get to actually play Hero's Duty and ride through it. Yeah, that attraction is still not going to go down in lines at all. But I thought that would be a great idea to do.
I think that is a great idea.
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely.
My last one, and I'm struggling on where to put it, would be an overlay of an idea that they had originally intended to do when they did the Haunted Mansion, and that's the Headless Horseman. You just don't see him, and I think a good dark ride. And I've been trying to figure out, since we're sticking to Disney World, because, you know, obviously in Disneyland, the great fit would be putting it where Mr. Toad is, because Mr. Toad,
I was just about to say Mr. Toad would be awesome.
But we don't have that anymore.
But if you did, you know, I just had a thought. If you did, that scene with the train could be changed. So you like, you know, as you go into that tunnel, you could see a projection of the Headless Horseman down, and that train light could be dressed up like like his head.
Pumpkin that's coming at you. Yeah,
that's coming at you, and then you get tossed into whatever happens. You know, that would have been brilliant.
Absolutely. And so if we're going to do it in Disney World, there's only two places I can think of to do it. One would be, and I hesitate to say it, but I like the ride system for it, would be Peter Pan. Because you kind of have to feel like you're riding a horse. Right. Because how else do you do the encounter with the Headless Horseman? Right. You can't do it riding a boat as you would with Small World. Yeah, yeah. You can't do it riding a clammobile as you would with Ariel. Yeah. So to me, you know, taking the taking the boat and trying to turn it into like a makeshift kind of horse that you're riding, because it's narrow and stuff like that. I mean, I could see them possibly doing that, but I think that might be a bit much for an overlay. So the only other place I could think to do it, and then again, this might be hard because it's all exterior.
Tomorrowland Speedway.
There you go. Very nice.
Really?
That's the other place. Yeah, that's the other place I was thinking of putting it, because I just couldn't convince myself that they would actually take the boats in Peter Pan and turn them into makeshift horses. So that's where I was going with that, is that since they're not going to do that, and I can't think of any other ride system to use, the next best place I can think to do it was Tomorrow. I
totally meant that as a joke. Wow, interesting.
I mean, you tell me. It's a good idea. We both agree it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Where else do you put it?
Let's see. I mean, I guess if you wanted to simulate horses galloping, Winnie the Pooh has the ride system to already allow that, especially when you get to the Tigger bouncing thing. So it almost feels like a horse galloping. If Snow White was still around, that would have been just as good, but she's not around, so.
But you said Winnie the Pooh, that you're riding a honey pot. Like, again, it would require actually changing the ride vehicle.
The ride vehicle, yeah, that's true. You couldn't really just overlay it. So if you put it in Tomorrowland Speedway, that'd be pretty interesting, I guess. You could have the Headless Horseman throwing pumpkins at you while you're driving around.
Yes.
You try to dodge it or whatever else. Interesting. Okay. I'll go with that. I'm okay with that. And that's that. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed that encore presentation of our very first Halloween episode. And look, if you want to learn more about us, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, if you want to get in touch with us to share your opinions, you can do so through the following ways. Shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com. Call or send us a text message. Yes, I did say text us at 1-815-MO-WEEKEND. That is 1-815. That's right. Very good, guys. Mo-Weekend. 669-4226. And, of course, we have a couple of guys that do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli. He does things with comics. Make sure you support him and purchase his Project Geisha, Savages, and Molly Be Damned graphic novels on his website, ivorycomics.com. And shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com if you want to get in touch with him. And you can find him on Instagram at eivory504. And you can also find him on Twitter at Hancock10166. That's HANCOCK 10166. And you can also find him on Facebook. Also, if you want to book a vacation to any of the Disney parks so you can check out these myths of the Haunted Mansion that were true, trust Lee Lastavica of Lastavica Travel, a member of the Magical Moments Vacations family of travel agents. Magical Moments Vacations is a platinum earmarked Disney travel agency. So, if Disney loves them, so will you. Book with Lee today by shooting him an email at lee@magicourway.com or call him at 832-431-1621. Again, that is 832-431-1621. And remember, a portion of every booking Lee makes goes to support the Magic Our Way podcast, as well as Girl Power to Cure. Girl Power to Cure is a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising awareness and funds for the treatments and a cure for Rett syndrome. And always remember, you can book a vacation with Lee with no hassle-vika. In addition, there are so many ways to support the show as a whole, and you can find them all on our website, magicourway.com. Any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to take a second and thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So, Mohicans, on behalf of Danny, Eli, Lee, and myself, we say Kwaherini. My name is Kevin. Magic out.
I have every intention of eating those bananas for breakfast, but I still somehow end up with tacos.
Hey, this is Eli from the Magic Our Way podcast.